Mic'd up.
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Hello, thank you, everybody. In our game day version of Yankees Coast to Coast, happy to see you. Mike, not so happy to see you, but whatever. It's good to be back on the air. I love baseball during the day because I absolutely cannot focus 100%. I got to work and then I've got to look over at the game. I got to work and then I got to look over at the game. So I need you to keep me honest.
All you got to do that is you keep the game on in the background. And, until you're on a phone call, you have the sound going. Come on, man. I did that for years and years and years working.
You like my background for my
Terrific.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my I think this is my 20-year-old hat.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow, that hat from Camp 94, 80 was it 94 or 2004? What year did we go to camp?
Mr. Math. So, all right. So they win again. You gotta like that. You gotta like Warren, right? He did a good job.
Yeah.
I think Girardi hit the nail on the head. Warren needs to be able to put hitters away more quickly and not get to a whole bunch of 3-ball counts. And he did that for the most part. But when he fell behind hitters, the first batter, he struck out on 6 pitches. And then he went middle on a fastball to the second hitter and hit a home run. But then he retired 11 in a row. So, he started doing it right, and then he allowed another homer. But that's beside the point. 2 is a record, though. The Yankees pitchers, it's the most of starting pitchers allowed all season.
That's right. In fact, I think 1 was the only. Had anybody given up a home run this year?
No, these are the first 2 homers the Yankees starting staff has allowed.
So God, they all suck. Forget it. He's done.
So 79
My
pitches,
son used
48
to say,
strikes.
Season's over.
79 pitches, 48 strikes. Got to like that because that's not something he normally does.
Yeah.
He threw 86 the first game, and he threw 79 today. I'm looking at the box score, and what's funny is they forgot to put Hill in the box score. He pitched
again. They do that to you all the time, don't they?
I'm looking at the MLB site. That's what's even funnier.
Me too.
I'm not even looking at my normal site. I'm looking.
You're
at
right.
the
He's
MLB
not in
site.
there. I'm looking at MLB. Let's go to ESPN and see what they got.
Right, Bert. They didn't even have
Hill's not there. I'm looking at it too.
He threw to one batter, and they don't even put him in there. Anyhow, I thought that was. By the way, I thought that was a good pitching change. I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Boone. I think he managed an excellent game today. I think he's done a very good job so far this year. You know us; we are not boonies. We are not boonies. But I thought he did a good job.
We are not.
I thought bringing in Bird was a good thing to do when the score was 5-2. I thought pitching Hendrick when it was 6-2 was good. Then when it was 8-2, I do have to ask if Kid Winquist isn't going to come in the 9th inning of an 8-2 game. I know Yarbrough hadn't pitched yet this season, but if Winquist is not going to come in an 8-2 game, when is he going to come in?
Well, he doesn't have to pitch. He just has to be on the roster.
Right, but he's wasting space. He's wasting space.
He doesn't have to play. He just has to be on the roster.
He's not going to be
well.
They need another bench bat, and if he's not going to ever play,
I could not agree more.
If they're going to go with 11 pitchers, which is in essence what they're doing, they could use another bench player, and he's just taking up space. So I just don't understand that. So I have to question that. I do want to say also the Yankees are running still. And
the base stealing has been great. I mean, I'm not loving the extra bases are a good idea. I see what they're doing. They just got to be a little bit better at it. But I thought the play today. I think your play was right.
The only guy that got thrown out today was Grisham, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was there was another play. What else happened? There was another thing that happened today with a base runner, but can't remember. But no, it was a bad slide. It was a dumb slide.
It was why is he doing a pop-up slide? He needs to be sliding through the base on that one. He was stealing. I do not like the fact that Cone said, "Oh, he was hustling all the way." No, he wasn't. He let up around second base a little bit, but he was trying to see where the ball was, which is okay. But don't say he's hustling all the way when he was doing a little bit of a trot.
Hmm.
But it was the right thing to do to go to third. Clearly, he was safe. He just made a bad slide and popped off the bat. Doing a pop up slide is stupid on that
I think
situation.
it wasn't it Bellinger who did it. Bellinger did it a little bit earlier. He
Belly's
got the third.
person was. I mean, the throw was perfect when Bellinger got thrown out stealing the other day. It
Yeah,
was
no, but I
it
thought
basically
Bellinger got the third today.
yeah.
On a on a
Wells
on
Wells took
a
an
play.
Wells took an extra base today. Wells
Hmm.
stole a base today. I
Yeah.
mean, actually, you gotta like the fact Wells, tried to steal third, stole third. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. Surprised Caballero, who was behind him. So in the second
Didn't go.
inning,
Yeah. Why didn't he go to second?
because he didn't know Wells was running, that was one that Wells must have done on his own.
It was the Wells one. That's right. It wasn't Bellinger. It was
Yeah.
Wells. That's what
So
I was
I
thinking.
thought what was good is that in
Hmm.
the second inning they kept running. Right, Jazz got a walk, stole second and third. Caballero needed to make contact with one out. He walked, stole. McMahon needed to make contact. He walked. Terrific. Grisham must not ground into a double play, but needed to make contact. He had a good at bat. He walked. Judge was pissed when he got hit by a pitch.
So was I. I mean,
Yeah, but it
it
wasn't.
was.
I mean, it wasn't a purpose. The guy was clearly having control issues. That wasn't an intentional hit by pitch by any stretch. And
I
then
don't know.
Bellinger made some soft contact. So, I mean, the biggest problem the Yankees had today is you know how many hits they had, right?
Mhm. How many
They
to
ended
have
up with
here?
they
So
ended up with 6 hits because they had two
I
in the
had to
ninth
turn
inning
up. I think.
against Bacher.
Yeah.
So, and that was the only reason. Um, you know, I thought the Caballeros bunt when Jazz was on third with less than with 2 out, and Jazz was on third. It was a good bunt. It wasn't perfect, but it was good, and he almost beat it out. But I'd rather him do that than stand up there and swing wildly, which I know you want to talk about Caballero because you're a little down on him.
No, I just, I like the bunt. You got to bunt. You got to get a hit there. So the bunt was a little bit too flat. Um, Good play by the pitcher, but still a little bit too flat. If you're going to do that, you got to push it out a little bit. And but I thought that was fine. But I'm a little bit struggle. I'm struggling because I think he overswings, and it's
I
like
think
these
he
guys,
overswings
these
until
little
he gets.
guys who overswing just make me nuts because he's never going to hit 40 home runs. I don't care what Jazz thinks. Jazz isn't going to hit 50 home runs. These guys aren't built for it. They're just not. So doing it's the problem we have with Volpe. It's this mindset. All right, I still can hit. I can put a charge into one every now and again, and I can do it all the time. They can't. I don't care how he's sped up his bat speed. I don't care that he worked all off season on bulking up so he could hit more home runs. He's 4'9", 175 pounds. He's not gonna hit 40 home runs. So don't do it. Your job is not to do that. It's to get on base.
I
All
think the
you need to
question.
do is hit a dinker over second base every other time you get up, and you're gonna hit 300. Steal 150 bases. Can you imagine how many
He's
bases
not going to
this
hit 300.
clown would
And he's
steal?
never going to hit 300. He's a 220 hitter. The question is,
But
would you rather
because he
have
does what
Volpe's?
I'm telling you he's doing, because that's his approach. If he would change his attitude and the way he swings,
I don't
I know
think
that maybe you don't think that's
he
possible.
is what he is. I mean, it's not like he's learning how to play baseball.
But
However,
who
would you rather
teaches these
have
guys to be who they are?
the
This is
question
a
is,
question.
would you rather have Volpe's 220 batting average and 30% strikeout rate with a 280 on base percentage, but he hits the 18 to 22 home runs and has an OPS of 650? Or would you rather have Caballero's 220 batting average with a 300 on base percentage and the same 650 slugging percentage because he's not gonna hit a
All right.
650 OPS because he's gonna have a better on base but not have the slugging. The thing that
All
I have
right.
concern about with Caballero, which is surprising, is last year didn't he have a rifle for an arm?
Yeah, this year he seems to be throwing a lot of like humpbacks. I
Yeah,
don't get it.
that's the
I
thing
was
that's got
noticing
me
the
more
same thing during this.
concerned.
I was noticing that during spring training, he doesn't seem to have that
Yeah, that's
giddy
I'm
up.
a little worried. That's the biggest worry I have.
Mm.
Is I mean, he made the error on opening day, but it didn't cost him anything. And he's fielded everything clean since then. It was a little bit of a tough hop, but he's got to make that play. But yeah, from Caballero's perspective, I don't have a problem with him. I don't think that they're missing Volpe by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't find Caballero as frustrating is Volpe because Volpe has shown over the course of his career he can put the ball to right field. He could be a 260 hitter. He could be a better on base guy, and he's chosen not to. Whereas Caballero, his entire career has not been anything more than a punch and Judy hitter with an on base percentage that is generally in the low 300s. He was at 343 in 2023, but he only had 230 at bats. In 24, when he was with Tampa, he had more at bats, 440 at bats, and his on base actually dropped to below 280 to 283. And then this
Hmm.
year, last year he was at 339, which is what was good about him last year. Is his on base was near 340. If he's going to have an on base of 231, which is what he's at now, granted it's all whopping 7 games into the season, that's going to be a challenge. His on base percentage has to be higher in order for him to have the value offensively.
Yeah.
Right now he hasn't hurt them defensively, but he does look a little bit different than he did last year.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's looked clean on in field. He's not making the dumb mistakes. The throws are all online. Haven't hurt them yet. It's just he's not getting the giddy up you want.
I
That's
will
we'll
say
see.
Goldschmidt did save him from a couple errors the game that Goldschmidt played, and
Oh,
he
okay.
seemed to be he seemed to be throwing the ball a lot harder when Goldschmidt was playing first base. So is he doing this because it's Rice over at first base and he's a little bit more concerned about being bouncing the ball? I don't know that for true or false, but he certainly was throwing the ball differently when Goldschmidt was playing first base. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. And as much as I thought they should trade Rice, even though I think he's going to be a decent hitter, I don't understand. I don't understand. He's a butcher at first base, and why they didn't catch him the other day instead of Escara is beyond my understanding.
Yeah,
Um,
they really don't want to put him, but they think they don't want him behind the plate unless it's an emergency.
yeah,
That's the
he
mindset.
was fine back there. He was better there than he is at first base.
I think they want him to learn how to play first base. They want to give it to him the confidence to do it
No,
all. This
you're
is
going to
his
get
job.
Goldschmidt. When you're going to get
Listen,
Goldschmidt,
they think that he's going to be an elite. They think he may be the future of the team offensively. I mean, Judge. We know Judge is older. What's this guy going to be in 10 years? That I think they really believe this guy's got is going to be a future
listen, when
superstar.
he makes
So
contact, it bounces off his bat. And
it is
so far
amazing.
this year, his contact has not
The
been.
first strikeout annoyed me. He should have called it. He should have tapped. I didn't get it. It was inside, but I see why he doesn't do it in the first inning.
Well, he
So
blew
that,
he blew one in his first at bat. It was right down
yeah,
the middle, and he tapped his helmet and blew it.
no, no, opposite. He blew the first one. He didn't do it in the first
Oh,
strikeout.
second
When
one,
it
he
was
blew it.
the
It was pretty
second one,
right down the
it,
middle. I don't understand how he
yeah,
didn't.
I didn't get it. It was, and they said that Girardi said it. He thought it was being. Did you hear Girardi today?
Yeah,
Oh, so you heard their show.
yeah,
But what they were, he said it that he felt that he was compensating. Like he said, oh, I think he feels he missed the first one. And I bet somebody came up to him and said, you had one in the first inning.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah.
think that these guys are ambivalent to do it in the first inning because it is early.
Yeah. I
You
thought
don't
that.
want to blow your pops, but your
Listen, the
taps.
Marlins went 2 for 3 on their challenges today, and the Yanks went 0 for 2. Um,
Yeah.
and it's the 2 for 3 that the Marlins did. The two that they got that they won were the one for Rice, which was clearly a strike, and anybody and their mother could see it. And then the one to Grisham, which watching TV it looked like a strike, but I could see why the umpire would call it a ball because it didn't even have a full ball in the strike
Hmm.
zone. So once again, this is where we differ. I think overwhelmingly, except for Easterbrook and CB Buckner, who the Yankees haven't seen, the umpires on these challenges have missed pitches that are less than an inch off the plate or are just barely touching home plate. So I think that the system is that way, but I still stand by what I've said for 3 years, which is every pitch should be on the ABS. Let's take
Well,
it out.
the only problem with every pitch is, can we wait that long? They're gonna have to speed it up. They got to make it a little
They
bit
don't.
faster than the
They don't
five
have
to ten
to. They
second.
don't have to speed it up if they don't have to play it at the stadium and send it to everybody. The umpire can just have it in his ear and have it do buzz or not buzz, strike or a ball, and that would be the end of it. It'll be just as quick as getting a sign on the.
Is it? Is it
Yeah,
really that fast? I
yeah.
haven't
It would be.
heard that it's
It,
immediate.
it would be that fast. It's that
Okay.
quick in the minor league stadiums where they don't have video. The
Hmm.
umpire just says pitch is challenged, and then boom. And there's one independent league that was using it for 100% of the calls, and it was perfectly fine. So
Mm.
it's I think it's time to go.
Well,
Uh,
maybe it's the future.
I'm
Maybe
a
it's
little
when you
concerned.
start seeing these guys, you wonder.
Cone is insisting that the next thing is the check swing, and they're using the baseline, the foul
Mm.
line or fair line, whatever you want to call it, as the baseline for whether or not a guy checks swinged or not. If he crosses the baseline, it's a strike. And I'm thinking to myself, well, doesn't that make it different for every batter depending on where they stand in the batter's box?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
going to incentivize everybody to move back in the batter's box. That would be a weird one to me. But I understand they got to do something because the check swing stuff is awful as well. So anyhow, with regard to the Yankee, getting back to the game, the Yankees needed to add on, but they didn't do it early on because they only had 4 hits. They were doing it with walks and hit by pitch and good base running. So I mean,
11 walks today.
yeah,
Holy shit.
from that from that standpoint, the Yankees didn't, they manufactured 4 runs after the Judge home run to make it 6-2, and that's a good thing, right?
Look at the other side of the box score
Yeah,
on walks.
I know they had 11 walks. The Yankees walked 11 times, and the our friends on the Marlins walked 0 times.
How do you? That's amazing. That's really, you know what? That's what I'm hearing. I think that Coney was saying that today. That the big difference, really, in the first 7 games is is they're not walking anybody. It's not just they've always had great command. They always strike out a lot of guys. They
Right.
just and they don't give up that many hits.
Well,
But
I
they
think
did
the
was
other
they give
thing
up a
is
lot of
did you were
walks.
you listening in the first couple of innings when Girardi was talking about how the Marlins call all the pitches from the dugout? And
Mm-mm.
that the coach sends the signal into the catcher, and the catcher then gives it to the pitcher. And he was with regard to Perez, he's like he throws 97, 98 miles an hour, and he was throwing less than 50% fastballs. And Girardi
Mm.
didn't understand it. Now Girardi was really hard on the Marlins, so maybe there's a little bitterness there, but
Mm.
he's is
Why
a
you think
little
he
bit
was
of this.
turned down for a job?
And well, they fired his ass.
He was a Oh, that's right. He was the Marlins before the Yankees,
Yeah,
right?
and
That's
he,
right.
and he was on their case. He was like, "How could you not do this?" And then he said, when he was a manager, he never called the pitches. He said he never called the dugout. He said, of course, Posada would have gone berserk. But I'm sorry, there were times when it looked like the Yankees were looking over, even during Girardi's tenure and during Boone's tenure, where they were looking over to the dugout for a pitch sequence that they needed to have. But once in a while is no big deal, and it also has a lot to do with the catcher. But Girardi said when he's in the dugout, it's much harder to see what the pitcher's really doing and what he has. You know what he should be doing, but you don't necessarily see and feel it when you're catching, and you could see the movement of whether or not his ball is moving as much as you thought in and out. You could see up and
Mm.
down. So, but Girardi was really right. I think if you think about it, if this guy Perez is throwing 97, 98, why not let him throw? And he has a cutter, and he has a sinker, and he has a four seamer. Why not do to him what the Yankees are doing with Schlittler and throw the fastball? I think the Yankees need to do that with Heel as well when he comes back. Get him off of this
Yeah.
breaking stuff, work off of the fastball, especially if it's got any kind of movement. It's not flat.
Hmm.
But Girardi was really harsh on the Marlins. And
Yeah.
considering the Marlins came in 5-1, it's pretty hard to be harsh. So
Now looking at the pitch, I want to ask you a question. How about Bird, man? Bird. Woo. Did he come
thank
in
God,
today and gas?
whatever they did worked. Gotta like that.
Well, they seem to find a way, but I'm wondering. Here's the question I want to ask you: how soon before Bird is backing up, is setting up Bednar? If Bird keeps going like this, because I know we're gonna
Well,
have
I
a lot
think
of games. We're gonna have a lot of those moments with
Duvall.
Duvall where he's like he was the other night, where he just can't find home
Yeah,
plate.
I mean, ultimately, what it's going to come down to is the Yankees are going to end up having 3 setup men like they've had in the past with
Mm,
Bird, Cruz, and Duvall. Bird has in his history some command issues. Obviously, so does Duvall. And obviously, Cruz, if people can lay off of that pitch, which they don't seem to be able to lay off of, he could have command issues because he doesn't throw it for a strike that often, but they all swing
mm,
at it. Yesterday, they used Cruz in the 6th inning in a game when, it was relatively close, or whatever day it was, Wednesday. And you got to also like the fact that Hendrick, I mean, granted, that's where I would have used Yarborough if you wanted to get the lefty in there because they put all their lefty bats in there against Bird, and you wanted to get Hendrick Yarborough in there. I would have used Yarbrough in the eighth because he hadn't pitched all season, and then see what happens and get lucky and get Wenquist, or let Yarbrough and then Hendrick, or Yarbrough for 2 innings because he's a more of a swing man. But again, if they're not going to pitch Wenquist in an 8-2 game in the ninth inning, he's just taking up space on the roster. And if you want to only have 11 pitchers on your roster, guess what? The Yankees could use another bat on the
Mm,
bench.
yeah.
Surprisingly, a left-handed bat on the bench, to be honest with you, because Escara is the only lefty bat on the bench.
And they're going to get hurt by that at some point. At some point, it's already had a little of trouble the other night.
The other day, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So
all right.
it's a roster construction thing, and Kramer would be thrilled that I use that terminology.
He
But
does
again,
all
they
that.
won. They're 6-1, and there's not much to complain about. And you know, I know at some point we're going to get on Boone's butt about stuff, and I don't want to get on it right now. I want to acknowledge the fact that he's really. I think he's managing the team this year because I think they're running more because he's making the calls. Wells'
Hmm.
steal of third, I think, is the only one he did not call today. And he went against a team that has 9% throwing out base runners. And it'll be interesting to see. Ramirez was the DH today. He throws out less base runners than the guy they used today. And right now he's not hitting. So let's see. He's the guy the Yankees gave up last year, or gave up a couple of years ago in the Jazz trade.
Mm. Yeah, they said that he can't throw at
Yeah.
nine
Well, none
percent
of the
clip.
guys in Miami can throw, but they think it's the pitching staff.
Yeah.
So
All right,
who
man. Good times. I'm going tomorrow night, so I think you're going to be on your own. Maybe I
I'm
could
not going to
call
be
in, but
around
I don't
tomorrow
think
night.
so.
I will be in San Jose at a
Oh,
hockey
San
game.
Jose.
I'll
Hmm?
be able to watch the Yankee game, but I will not be able to comment. And then Sunday we have a day game, so we'll be able to do that on Easter, unless of course
We
you have plans.
I will call you from the ballpark tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I got my company seats, taking a client,
Where are you sitting?
and session 117 behind
First
dugout.
behind the dugout,
So a
right?
little bit back. They don't have the fancies. I wish I did, but they have the. I should listen. I'm not complaining. They're the first row in the regular
So the
seats
first
down
row behind the
downstairs.
moat. First row
Yeah,
behind the moat.
exactly. So I'm very
All
pleased.
right. Try not to get killed by
It's
a
a
foul
big deal.
ball. Use Jamie as a human shield,
Yeah.
and go
Uh,
from there.
and then, but I hear, you know what I hear? The new scoreboard, apparently very
Yeah,
impressive.
they
Everyone's
showed
very
it.
excited by
Yeah.
that. It looks the same. Did they change it?
When I was
But
at Pac-Bell ATT SBC Oracle Park, they have a new scoreboard, and they do a great job. What they do a great job of is for every pitch they give you the vertical and horizontal. It's like listening to David Cohen. But what was really hard to find, which was not on the big scoreboard, was exit velocity and launch angle.
exit. Oh, those are
The
kind of the
Yankees
newer
do a
thing
much better
now.
job of it. They used to run it across the top of the big scoreboard. I don't know where it's going to be now that
I
the
hope
score.
they change that because I always felt it was a little bit too small up there. And they need to make
Right,
these
but at
things a
least
little
it's
more prominent, a little
not
less
tucked in
interesting
behind the foul
batting
pole.
average, and I love when they give stats like you know Jazz has a lifetime 500 average against right-handed pitchers with one testicle from Idaho. I don't care about some of these stats. The things that are
I
good
think that
are
might be the most important stat I've ever heard.
yes
500 batting
these.
average against pitchers, right-handed pitchers with one testicle from Idaho. That
I mean,
is
these are very important things to know. I know they keep me riveted. I know they keep you. Anywho, have a nice day. Go Yanks, go.
and good luck in
Now,
prison.
yes, as always, I won't be there.